Here today. Thank you. Thank you to all the advocates here for having me at your meeting. This is always a great way to share some information, and happy to be here and be part of your meeting today. So we're going to talk today a little bit about the OhioISP, and some of you may have heard of that, and some of you may not have, and it's okay either way. This is something that we've been working on for a while now, and I'll spend some time today just kind of talking about what it is and what you all can expect moving forward. So Nicole, if you can go ahead to the next slide. So this slide talks about putting the I back in the ISP, and how many of you all know what an ISP or an individual service plan is? Anyone who knows what it is? If you want to unmute, or you could type in the chat. Bill, I see your hand up.
It's an individual service plan, is what it stands for.
Can you repeat that, Bill? I'm sorry.
It stands for individual service plan.
Individual service plan. Yep. And do you know what that does? What is an individual service plan?
Caitlin, you should really watch this, because this is about your stuff. Just come.
What?
Bill, can you tell me a little bit about what is an individual service plan? What does it do for someone?
Well, here's what I told a friend of mine yesterday, actually, when she asked about it. I said, basically, it is a plan for our lives, saying what we need help with, what we do ourselves, and also goals are set that we want to try and achieve each year, because it's an annual thing.
Bill, that's a perfect response, and I don't know that I could have described it any better. It really is. It's a plan for your life. It talks about your wants, your needs, your goals, things that you need to help you get through your day and get the things that you want and need in your life. So really, it's necessary to help ensure that someone's wants and needs and goals are being met. So it's kind of a guide to help you live a meaningful life. And this little these pictures here show how the person should be at the center of the services. So you see that little, it looks like an eye there. That's the person. And if you look at the second picture there's a big circle around the person. That's kind of how the person is at the center of the supports. And if you look at the last picture over there on the right side, those are all of the people that surround the person. So this is actually our logo for the OhioISP. And it shows how the person's at the center of the services, and there are a bunch of people that are part of that team that help support that person. And those might be family members, or a guardian if you have one, friends, providers, or other people that are important to you. So even though there's all those people around you, you're still the one who's at the center of the plan, because that plan's about you, and it should be kind of guiding the services that are helping you to live your best life. So that little flower looking symbol, that's our OhioISP logo, and that's really what the OhioISP is about. It's about you being at the center of this process, making sure that you're kind of the star of the show, and you have all of these different supports around to help you. Okay, Nicole, go ahead and move to the next slide, please. So here we talk about how your voice was heard. When we started the OhioISP, and again, we're going to talk a little bit about what the OhioISP does, but when we started this, we heard a lot of different things about what people wanted, people with disabilities and their teams, and what they felt would be most important. And a lot of you, and some of you may have been part of these meetings at some point, or part of this advocacy along the way. Talked about wanting better communication with your team. A lot of you probably have SSAs, or Services Support Administrators, at Medina County that help you with your plan, and probably have providers that help to provide those services to you. So a lot of you have talked about wanting better communication. You want to talk to your team about what your needs and your wants are. A lot of people have talked about really just wanting a single plan across the state of Ohio. So what we mean by that is that just having one plan that follows the person across the state. If they move from one place to another, that plan is theirs. So whether they're at an ICF or an individual care facility, or at an intermediate care facility, or if you live in a county in a waiver setting, you have your own place, you live with family, it doesn't matter. Wherever you go, that plan stays with you. So even if you move, you don't have to have a different plan, because before we used to have different plans and different templates in different counties and at different facilities. So it's the same no matter where you live. We talked about being person-centered. What we mean by person-centered is that person's at the center of the process. So you're able to share your story, and it's able to, the plan is able to show what you want and need in your life. Some of you have talked about easy updates, like if something needs to change in your plan, your SSA or whoever is writing your plan can go in and make those changes pretty easily. So we now have created a system where those updates can happen pretty easily and pretty quickly. A lot of people have talked about simple information that's easy for people to understand. So not a lot of big words or words that people don't understand. If the plan's about you, you want to be able to read and understand it, or have things in there that you know and understand. So we really want to make sure that people are using information, simple words and simple language that is easy for everyone to understand. A lot of people talked about wanting better conversations, talking about things that are really important to them. So not just questions that are going to help someone write a plan, but things that are going to really help you as a person who's getting services to live a better, more meaningful life. And outcomes. Some of you guys may have heard the word outcomes before. It's really a fancy way of saying your goals, like what you want to do in your life. So some of you may want to do more things in the community. Some of you may want to live on your own one day. And so those are goals that you have. And when you have a plan in place, you can talk with your SSA or whoever's writing your plan about ways to help you reach some of those goals that you might have. So again, answering some of those questions are going to help lead to some of those things that are included in your plan. And important 2s and 4s, these are really your wants and needs in your life, and making sure that we know what is important to people and what is important for their health and safety. So want to make sure that we understand what it is that you need as part of your life. And then just kind of the last thing about this is that the OhioISP, when it was developed by a lot of people in the field, people from county boards, people who have disabilities, family members. It wasn't created by DODD or the state as a way to just say that this is what we're going to use now. A lot of people are really involved in this process to help develop it. So it's like I said, it's been a long time that it's been being worked on. I think back in 2019 was when the work group first started to develop some of the questions that were a part of this plan. And now we're starting to see a lot of counties and facilities using it. So Nicole, if you could go to the next slide, please. I think we have a little video here. And this kind of talks about what the Ohio ISP is. So I'm going to have Nicole play this and just kind of get a better understanding of what the Ohio ISP is.
Ohio ISP, Introduction for People with Developmental Disabilities. What is Ohio ISP? The Ohio Individual Service Plan, also called the Ohio ISP, is your plan, your ideas, your visions, the goals you have for your life, and your successes and achievements. Your plan helps you communicate the services and support you want and need. There are 88 counties and over 450 ICFs in the state of Ohio, and before the Ohio ISP, this meant there were over 500 ways that a plan could be completed. So if you move from one county or facility to the next, you would need to complete your plan all over again. With the Ohio ISP, it is now one plan that is used across the state. Your plan belongs to you, and it follows you wherever you want to go in the state of Ohio. How does creating your plan work? Well, it's about teamwork. Anyone you want can be on your team. Conversations will take place throughout the year with your team, discussing things that you may want or need others to know about you. The plan is there to support you. Self-advocacy. As a self-advocate, you know your rights, speak up for yourself, problem solve with your team, and find support. Getting services you want, instead of getting only what is offered, is so important. It's okay to ask for help. We all need help sometimes. Being a self-advocate will assist you in getting the support you need. What you should know about the Ohio ISP. The Ohio ISP is easy to use and understand. Your Ohio ISP can be accessed wherever you go and whenever you want. Your Ohio ISP can be shared with your team at any time. Videos, photos, and documents can be easily uploaded to your profile to share with your support team. By using the chatter feature, the Ohio ISP supports better communication for your entire team. You should know there are two parts to the Ohio ISP, the assessment and the plan. The assessment. Through questions and conversation, you and your team will let others know what services are important to and important for you. The assessment truly drives your plan. The plan. The Ohio ISP places what is important to you and for you in the center of the planning. You will lead the planning process by making choices, setting goals, and deciding how you want to live your life. You can do this by talking to your team, thinking about what is important to you and for you, learning new things, and being creative on how you can get to the life you want. The planning process also helps get to how you need supported, services that can help, and how technology can be used to increase your independence. If you have questions, please reach out to Ohio ISP at dodd.ohio.gov.
All right, thanks, Nicole, for sharing that. I thought that was a really nice video, and we have that up on our website. They did mention an email address there that people can email us, and I will share that later on in the presentation. I'm going to take some time to go through each of those parts of the process, but I'm going to stop here and see if there's anyone who has a question on anything that we've talked about so far.
Actually, Jim, I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
This is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Number one, is that video available on the DOD website? I'd like to show it to the advocates in another meeting that couldn't attend tonight.
Yeah, it is. It's on our, we actually have an OhioISP website.
Okay.
And it is on that. I will try to pull that up and maybe drop it in the chat while you are asking an additional question. But we have that video along with several other videos that I think might be helpful for people with lived experiences, family members, providers, and kind of we have videos really related to a lot of different people in the field.
Wonderful. That'll be helpful.
Sure.
And my second question is, so I work with the advocates here in Medina County too. And one of the things that we really touch on a lot is preparing for the ISP, making sure that they have an agenda and all the information that they need to get the most out of these meetings. Has anyone ever considered, or maybe there's something already out there, a printable agenda that the individuals can print out and then they can fill out, like, these are my challenges, these are my strengths, these are my hopes and dreams, these are my short-term goals, so that they can kind of go down the list and cross everything off and be better prepared.
I like where you're going with that, Michelle, and I'm trying to think because there's a lot of really great ideas and a lot of really creative people and systems out there that people are using. I don't know if there's anything quite that gets at what you're speaking to. We do have a template of the sort of the assessment questions. So we'll talk a little bit about the assessment next, but the assessment is really where like a lot of those questions are being asked. And you're talking about prepping for some of those questions that are going to be asked of a person. That's really kind of what comes to mind is like, these are the questions I'm going to be asked. So we do sort of have those questions in a Word document that could be available to people. I don't know if there's anything that's really like more concise and
Right. Well,
yeah.
thank you. I just wondered, maybe that's something that Medina County can put together for individuals in Medina County through our SSAs, come up with some type of, I just think it would be an agenda that they can prepare ahead of time, would make the meetings run more smoothly, and then they won't be done and say, oh, I wish I should have said this or tackled this or.
Yeah, and I love the idea, Michelle. I think that especially because if you look at some of the questions that people get asked during the assessments, and we'll, like I said, we'll kind of go through some of those. A lot of them require a lot of thought. Like it's really not something that you can just think about an answer right away. Like you sometimes you need time to process or think about what your answer is to that question. And they're important questions. So I really love the idea of kind of preparing for it and making sure that you give that a good amount of thought. So I'd be happy to support you guys in whatever way you want to kind of do that. And maybe if you guys develop something really cool, maybe we could share it with other counties as well. It could be like the Medina checklist of ISP preparation.
I'm liking where you're going with that. I will be in touch with our SSA department and see if we can get that pulled together.
All right, that sounds great. I love the idea though. Was that it for your questions, Michelle?
That was it.
Okay, great. Anyone else? And you guys will have plenty of time. We'll make sure we stop throughout this presentation to answer questions. All right, Nicole, if you want to go to the next slide, please. So we talked about the assessment. So the assessment is really the first part of the process. It's the first step in the development of an ISP. This is where a lot of those questions are asked of you as the person who receives services, as well as people on your team. So those people that know you best. So you might be answering a lot of these questions. Your family members, your guardian, if you have one, your providers, anyone who knows you really well might be answering some of these questions that really relate to what you need and what you want. So this part of it, it's hard to say like if this is going to be any different than what you've experienced in the past. Some of the questions that you might be asked as part of the assessment might be very similar to questions you've had in the past, or some of those discussions that you have with your SSA or whoever's writing your plan. They might be the same as things that you've had in the past. For other people, it might be very different. Again, either way, it really should be centered around you, because this plan is really about you and what you want and what you need in your life. One thing we really want to be clear on is that this is really not just a one-time deal. Like the assessment and those questions that relate to your life should not just be happening once a year. We talk a lot about the annual meeting, and for some of you, unfortunately, it's the only time that you get to see your SSA. It might be where you have a lot of these conversations. And really, that shouldn't be the case. The assessment should really be happening in a comfortable environment, and in a place that isn't just sitting around a table with a bunch of team members, a bunch of professionals. This should really be a chance for you and your SSA to talk about what it is that you want and need in your life. So again, it's going to happen a lot throughout the year, not just a one-time thing. Your SSA might be asking you a lot of different questions. They can meet you in the park. They can meet you at a restaurant, wherever is really the most comfortable for you to have some of these conversations. And I think Michelle was talking a little bit about maybe doing some preparation for it, having a way to think about what those questions are before you start answering them. We want to make sure that this isn't just happening one time during that annual meeting, because sometimes it's really uncomfortable to answer questions when you're sitting in a big meeting with a lot of people. I know I would find it really hard to answer a lot of questions. Some of those questions can be a little personal too. And if there's a lot of people around, it might be really uncomfortable. So I think we have to make sure that we're doing this in a way that makes sense for you to answer these questions and feel comfortable in doing so. We want to make sure that those answers, that document, that assessment is changed when your life changes. So if something happens in your life, you move, or maybe there's a medical condition that you have just been diagnosed with, or there's some other change in your life, you move out on your own, that's going to change. It could be a good thing or a bad thing. That change should be reflected in your plan. We should be able to look at your plan and see what the most current information is. So a lot of us, our lives are constantly changing. So as we kind of grow and get older and things change in our lives, we want to make sure that those plans are changing as well. And then it's also, the assessment's also a chance to learn about the person and discover what's important to and for you. So a lot of you may have an SSA or someone who writes your plan that you just met. It might be someone who's new, and you might still be getting to know them, and they may still be getting to know you. As that person gets to know you more, and as they talk to the people who know you best, that information should go into your assessment. And it's a chance for them to learn about who you are and what's really what you need in your life to make it a meaningful thing. Like some of us need coffee every morning, right? That makes a good day for us. How many of you like coffee?
And then Michelle does.
Michelle does? Okay. So that's part of her day. Michelle, if you don't have coffee, what happens?
Oh, you don't want to be around me.
So that makes a good day for you.
Thanks, Bill, for telling my secret.
Yeah. Some of us might have some things that happen that might make a bad day for us. So those are things that we really want to know, so that when your providers are providing services and helping you with what you need, they can help shape your day so that you can live your best life. There's other questions like, what is the best thing that has ever happened to you? For some of you, it might be something related to family or your friends, or maybe graduating. There might be a number of different things. So those are really the things that are important to know, because it really makes you who you are as a person. We don't want it to just be a way for people to kind of make sure the plan has everything it needs just to meet all those requirements, and we really don't want to just know what's important to your parents or what's important to your providers. We want to make sure that everything is centered around you and everyone is able to provide additional information for that. Okay, if you go to the next slide, Nicole, please. Oh, there you go. So this next slide just talks about how when we get all that good assessment information, so as you're answering questions and you're talking to your SSA, you're telling them about who you are and what you want and what you need in your life, those things are going to help with what we call planning. So planning for the services that you're going to receive. So if you look at those really like fancy colored boxes on the left, those are the different assessment sections. So you could see there's a lot of different areas that we cover about your life when we're doing the assessment. So communication, advocacy, and engagement. You guys all do a really great job of advocating. So when we talk about advocacy, attending these meetings and maybe going and doing different types of advocacy work to make sure you're advocating for yourself and for others, that would be an important part of what would be in that section. There's safety and security, things that are going to help keep you safe and keep you healthy. Social and spirituality. These are things like getting out into the community, and there's questions around that. Daily life and employment. For those of you who maybe work out in the community or attend day programs or different things like that, what you kind of like to do during your day. Community living, again, like this sort of relates to the getting out in the community probably more than the social and spirituality part. So there's going to be questions related to that. And then healthy living is really about your health and your lifestyle and wellness and things like that. So for anyone who might have some like medical issues, take medication, like a lot of those things are going to be in that section. So then when your SSA or whoever writes your plan is answering those questions, it's really going to help with writing what your plan's going to be, what services are in place. So for someone who needs to take medications and they're not able to take them themselves, they might need help with taking their medications. That's going to be a service or support that helps them with getting what they need, which is medications. I mentioned earlier outcomes. So someone who wants to get out in the community more, we might talk about that in that community living section of the assessment. They want to get out in the community more. You want to go explore the community so that you can find new and interesting activities. Well, that might be a good outcome. That might be something that your SSA and your provider can help you with so that you can find these new and exciting activities and go and live your best life. Bill, I see your hand raised.
Let's say hypothetically someone is in, I don't know, say a wheelchair and can't get out of the house, but they'd really like to. Would that be in there anywhere?
Yeah, it's a really good point. So obviously everyone's going to be a little different, and that's what we were talking about earlier with the person-centered stuff. So some people may have a wheelchair or other adaptive devices that they might need to get out in the community or do things, and that's okay. I think those things would be in there as well. There's questions that kind of ask about those things, and we would make sure that whatever types of things that you need to do those activities, get out in the community. If you need your wheelchair, then that would be a part of it as well.
Okay, because I actually do use one myself, so that's why I was
Okay.
asking.
Yeah, and so those kind of things are probably already part of your current plan, Bill. I would imagine that, when you're, are you, do you have an SSA, Service and Support Administrator? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I haven't talked to him in several months, but yeah, I have one.
Okay, so your SSA is probably already done an assessment previously. They've written a plan for you, and a lot of that plan is probably going to include things that include supports to help you with your wheelchair and to get you out and to make sure that you have your wheelchair. So
You say so. I haven't really read the thing lately, but
yeah, so things like that it's not going to change. The Ohio ISP is just a way to make sure that we still are getting you guys the things that you need to be a part of your life, but we also want the SSAs to look at other things too. And so again, this is going to be the same across the state, the same types of questions, the same types of setup, so that if Bill, if you were to move to Lorain County tomorrow, you already have your plan. It would just follow you to Lorain County, and Lorain County wouldn't have to rewrite the plan for you, because that's what was happening before.
okay, thanks. I got it.
That
Thank
makes
you.
sense? Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. All right, if you could change the slide, Nicole. All right, so this slide here, as part of the Ohio ISP, there's something called the introduction as well. So we have the assessment, and we also have planning, which is the ISP itself. That's really what the providers are looking at. That's what they're implementing to make sure that you all are getting what you need and want as part of your day. The introduction is really just kind of a summary of all of that. So when the SSAs and others are developing the Ohio ISPs, they are creating what we call an introduction page. And it's really just like a one-page summary of like the most important things that people should know about you and how to support you. So you can look at this example here. This is someone that we call Jennifer or Jen, and this is her picture and some few important things to Jen and what people like and admire about Jen. So you can kind of see here just a summary of different things related to Jennifer here. And then how you can best support Jen. So if you kind of look at this one page, this is really like, if someone was just working with Jen for the first time, this is really what they would need to know to best provide those services for her. So this would be for like a provider, to make sure that they are doing everything they need to do to best support her. Okay. Any questions on that so far? So we have the assessment, and then we have the ISP, and we have the introduction. Really, all of those questions that you answer in the assessment are going to help develop your plan, and your plan is going to just really be summarized here in this one-page introduction. Nicole, do you see any? I don't see any messages or hands raised.
Nope, I don't think so.
All right. I think we can move on to the next slide then. The next slide is just another video that we developed. It's a walkthrough of the system. So I'm going to do a little introduction here, and then I'll ask Nicole to play this for us. So once your plan is complete, you'll be able to see it eventually in the DODD online system. Okay, so when I say the DODD online system, we have an IT system that we've created that will have all of the plans across the state in it. So anytime someone has a plan developed, there's going to be a spot for it in our system. And you and only you and your team members are going to be able to access those plans. You will need a DODD account to log in. So just like any other secure site that you use, that some of you use, like any websites, or have to log in to, like, it could be like online banking, or if you have like a video game system that you need to log into, you have a username and you have a password. Well, you all can create a username and password to get into the DODD online system so that you can see your plan when it's developed and submitted into it. I mentioned your information's secure, so only your team members can access it. And there actually is a video on that website that I had sent. I'd put it in the chat earlier. There's a video related on to how we keep your information secure on that website. So one thing I do want to mention, okay, this is just one way that you can access your plan. You can continue to receive your plan in the same way that you always have. So if you want it to be sent to you via mail or email, or if you want to print a copy, whatever way you want your plan to be given to you, to be provided to you, you can ask your SSA to get it to you that way. Okay, so just let your SSA know how you want to receive it. And so some of those things may not change from what it's been. But this is going to take you through a walkthrough of the online system. So I'm going to have Nicole play this, and then we'll see if we have any questions.
Welcome to the Ohio ISP. Today we're going to look at the individual, guardian, and family member dashboards and user experience. After logging in, you'll see the individual's dashboard. The navigation bar at the top takes you to the sections of OhioISP you will use the most. The tiles on the front page are specific to your user experience. Click the Home icon at any time to return to the dashboard. The Details tab displays the individual's demographic information, case management status, and other useful fields. The Team tab includes information about the individual support system, team members, their roles, and any facilities the individual is a part of. The Plans tab includes the most recently viewed plans as well as all prior plans drafted for the individual. My Documents includes files owned and uploaded by you and documents shared with you by a team member. The Help tab includes links to Help Desk, the DoDD main page, and rules in effect. The Global Search bar will help you find specific records. It searches across record types to help you find what you need, whether it's user, contact, or account. If you need help in OhioISP, click the Need Help launcher at the bottom corner. The Help section includes documents for setting up OHID accounts, creating a Gmail account, submitting help tickets, and more from the General Knowledge tab. Walkthroughs can be found on the Help tab. Click a walkthrough to follow a process step by step. Click on the X on any open walkthrough to exit the Smart Walkthrough. You can search for materials using the search bar. The Videos tab includes demos and useful walkthrough videos.
All right, so that was just a kind of a quick overview of our online system. Again, some of you may use it, some of you may not. It's okay either way. I know a lot of the words that were used in that you may not understand, or you may not really fully understand the system until you kind of work in it and see it. But we just want everyone to be aware that that is one way that you can access your plan once it's been developed. So I know Medina County, and Nicole, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have started using the OhioISP, and I believe you guys have started to submit plans to our system.
Correct, we have.
Okay. All right, so there's probably some plans that are there that are in our system now, and there's probably a lot that still are not there yet because not everyone has an OhioISP yet. So we're kind of in this weird middle area where we're still, some are in, some are not.
So anybody with an April span date, those ISPs have already started being entered. And then the goal is to have everybody in by June of 2024.
Yes, and that's really kind of the key date. So Nicole mentioned June of 2024. That's really when we've kind of identified as a department that really everyone is going to have a plan in the system. So a lot of counties have started either this month or in the next coming months here, and we'll have everyone at their annual span date entered in so that we can make sure we get everyone in there by June of 2024. Okay.
I have a question actually.
Yeah.
My name is Courtney and I
Hi,
receive
Courtney.
assistant services, and I'm also a county board employee. I'm
Okay.
the provider relations specialist, and I just had a question in regards to the video. You said the video said that there was a tutorial on how to set up a Gmail account.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because Gmail is most compatible with this particular system?
No, that's a really good question, Courtney, and I could understand why there might be some confusion there. It really was just a way, because in order to have a DoDD account, you need to have an email address.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think probably people probably may disagree, but Gmail I think is probably the most common email that's out there. I know I don't have a Gmail address, but I know a lot of people do. So the instructions on how to create a Gmail address were just really, it's one of the ways that you can create an email account.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the only way. You can use really any email. If you already have an email address, as I know a lot of us do, you can use that. So there's really no system compatibility there.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that I knew what to tell providers because I think people will ask. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. It was just I think just a way to make sure that people had the tools they need, because we've found on some occasions in setting up a DoDD account, one of the barriers to it is that people don't have an email account. So kind of need to make sure they understand this is one of the ways that you can do that if you want to get a DoDD account.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good question. All right, Nicole, if you could get us to the next slide, please. This is just kind of a little snippet or screenshot of the Ohio Individual Service Plan, or the OhioISP. It's from the assessment section. So if you look at some of the questions here, these are some of the questions that your SSA or whoever's writing your plan is going to be answering when they create your OhioISP. So does the person visit with family and friends? And you can see this is kind of a fake one. Hopefully some of you know who Arthur Fonzarelli is. For those of you who remember from back in the day. Bill, I feel like you're going to answer here. Bill, do you know what show is that from?
Happy Days.
Happy Days, yep.
Yeah.
So Arthur Fonzarelli was a character from Happy Days. And so this is just a kind of a fake plan that was set up as one of our examples. You could see some of the questions here with some of the answers. Again, this is from our assessment section. So this is kind of how it would look when it's printed out, or if you're looking at it in the online system. If you could go to the next page, Nicole. This is a screenshot from the actual ISP portion, so the plan. This really goes into services and supports. Probably not the best choice as far as the screenshot we would use, but it was part of our example. So this ISP would obviously have the services and supports that a person will things like if someone needs help with, again, their medications, or maybe they need help. Bill, I know you mentioned the wheelchair, maybe need assistance with helping to push their wheelchair when they're out in the community, or things like that. Again, just ways to help you all with the things that you need to live your best life. Again, this might look a little different, than your current plans, and obviously going to have your picture, not Arthur Fonzarelli's. But it's gonna have your information. It's going to tell your story. It should help you do a lot of the same things that you already do, and a lot of the same things you already have in your existing plan. Okay. Next slide, please, Nicole. All right, so we have another video here. This is called Putting the I Back in the OhioISP. We had that slide early on with the I at the center of the process, and how you all are at the center of your planning process. This video kind of talks about some of the experiences that we've had. So I'll let you play this video.
I'm Regina Duff, and I'm a Service and Support Coordinator for the Washington County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
I'm Karen Thompson.
Hi, I'm Heather Ray, and I'm with RHTD, and I'm out of Washington County. I've been providing services with Karen for at least 20 years, our agency.
My name is Renee Fott, and I'm a Service and Support Administrator with the Montgomery County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I have been working with the board since September of 2008.
My name is Hester Brown, and I'm the Associate Director of Community Inclusion for United Cerebral Palsy of Greater Cleveland. I've been with the agency for 7.5 years and worked in the field for 21.
Hi, I'm Jamie Huck, Service and Support Administrator from Washington County.
I read Karen's previous ISP, and I knew that having a cell phone was important to her, but it didn't really capture why having a cell phone was important to her. But going through the assessment and just kind of having that conversation with the Ohio ISP, what I learned was that Karen is on the go all the time.
Just trying to come up with a good concept on how we can utilize the basic plan for Karen. You know, and I was very impressed with Regina and the way she would reach out, and she was just trying to mainly learn Karen and kind of get to know Karen before she sat down and actually put everything down in paper. So I was very happy to communicate back and forth with Regina. You know, I felt like we were more of a team for Karen, that we could kind of come up with ideas and Karen could tell us kind of what she wanted to do, and then we could just push forward from there.
It takes time.
Was that the end, Jim, or did I stop the video and I clicked my screen?
I think there was a little bit more, but it's okay if you.
Okay. I was trying to check the chat here, but it was just you.
That's okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
That video is up on our website as well. So for those of you, maybe that's good. We give you a little teaser of it, and if you want to finish the video, you can see that on our website. I think the most important thing, though, is that if you look at the story of Karen, it might be similar to what some of you might be going through, where you have these goals that you want to accomplish or these things that you want to do in your life, and maybe you haven't been able to do those yet. And the Ohio ISP is just really a way for us to look at things a little bit differently and try to find ways to help people to get to where they want to go and do the things that they want to do. So a lot of it is about, like we changed the way things are set up in the paper and the template, and the plan looks a certain way and it's going to look the same way across the state. But we also really wanted to take the time to go to each county and to go to each facility and talk to all of them about different ways to look at how to do things and to help people live their best lives. So that's really what this is all about. Again, a lot of counties, a lot of facilities have already been doing this, and so it might not be much different, but for those that hadn't, and for those people like you who might be wanting to do things that you haven't done yet, it's a really great way to make sure that we can help you reach your goals. I see Sarah's message. Oh, I think Sarah, you might have sent that just directly to me, but is there blank ISP on the website that could be printed and used for reference? Yeah, we do have what we call paper versions of the Ohio ISP, and I'm going to say that they're a little bit lengthier if you print out the whole copy of them. So I don't know that you're going to want to be printing out all. It might be like 30 pages or something. I don't know if you'd want to print out that whole thing, but you can at least take a look at it and see what types of questions. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier with Michelle, to prepare you for what questions you might get asked, really, it should just be having a discussion, having a conversation with your SSA so that they can get to know you and your needs and your wants. Like Karen, she wanted a cell phone because she's on the go a lot. So getting to know Karen helped the SSA to really figure out the why, like why she wanted a cell phone and how it's going to help her live a really good life. So that is hopefully something that the OhioISP is going to help us with. Nicole, if you could go to the next slide. We just have some resources here. The website that I had put in the chat, so that last chat message, the dodd.ohio.gov/OhioISP is where you can go, and there's a lot of great resources there. Again, there are some things related to people who have lived experiences or advocates like yourselves, family members who might be on the call. There's some different resources there for you all as well, related to not just what to expect and maybe how to help yourselves through the process, but again, what those questions might look like, how to get into the online system if you're wanting to do that. We do have an OhioISP email that myself as well as some of my colleagues monitor on a daily basis, so you can reach out to that. And then I did include my email here as well. I am the OhioISP contact for our region here in Northeast Ohio. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. Do we have any questions before we wrap up here? I don't see anyone. Nicole, Michelle, any questions you guys might have?
No questions. I just wanted to say this is all great information, and I'm eager to continue to support the advocates in this new OhioISP.
Great, thank you, and thank you for having me. I think we had done a webinar back in October for people with lived experiences and been catered to that group here. But really, a lot of our work thus far, to be very honest, has been with the SSAs and the county boards, and then the intermediate care facilities and the QIDPs who are going to be writing plans, because that's kind of where we had to start. We really hope to be doing a lot more with the advocates and the family members here, as a lot of the counties are starting to get into the system and use it more. So really look forward to working with you all. And Michelle, I know you had some great ideas that I think we can maybe do some good work with here.
Sounds good.
I just want to thank you so much, Jim, for taking the time to meet with us this evening and share this important information. And I just wanted to thank everybody else too that was able to join us this evening. Just appreciate everyone's time.
My pleasure.
All right, and feel free to reach out to Jim, any other questions, or you can reach out to me. So you have my email if there's anything we need to pass along. But again, thanks everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks.